153 meeting rooms number 2 from LeetCode. Let's jump to the question. Given an array of meeting time intervals, it has a start point and end point. Return minimum number of rooms required. So what is the question is asking us to do? The question is saying we have an array of intervals and we should decide how many rooms are required for these in meetings that we are going to have. So the first thing that we have is from 0 to 30. So we need to assign one room to this meeting, right? So it starts at point 0 and it ends at time 30. And for the second one, it starts from 5 to 10. And as you see, 5 to 10 has overlap with 0 to 30. So we cannot assign the same room number 1 to this meeting. So we are going to assign another room to this meeting. And for this one, as you see, it has interval with this the first meeting room, as you see. So we cannot assign the first meeting room. But for the other one, the meeting room number 2, the meeting number 2 ends at 10 and this one starts at 15. So there is no overlap between these two. So we can assign the same room to the third meeting, right? So the total of number of rooms that we need is 2. And for this one, as you see, we have 7 to 10. So we are going to assign a room to this one. And we have one meeting from 2 to 4, which is going to happen before 7 to 10, right? And it ends at 4 and the other one starts at 7. So we can assign the same room to both of the meetings. So the total of meeting rooms that we need is just 1. So one thing that we can learn from the second example is if we can sort these intervals based on their starting point, it can help us to assign rooms easier. So let's jump to the solution and see how we can solve this problem. Based on what I said, what we are going to do, if this is the intervals that is given to us, if this is the example, as you see, it's not sorted, right? So we are going to sort this array based on the starting points. And as you see here, we are going to sort it and we're going to use their index 0, which is their starting point, as the point that we need to consider for sorting. And what we're going to do, we are going to use a heap function. Why we are going to use heap function? Because a heap has the property that it will return the minimum value at each point that we ask the heap to pop. So that's the good thing about that. So let me go through this example so you can have a better understanding. So we are going to use a for loop and we are going to iterate over every single array, every single item or interval that we have in our array, right? And at the beginning, because the heap is empty, what we are going to do, we are going to push the first item to the heap. And the first item that we are going to add to the heap is the end point of the meeting, because that is what matters to us, because we have dealt with the starting points by sorting them. So what we need right now is just adding the end point, and whatever ends before the starting point, we can pop that out of the heap. So for the first interval, we have 30, and because the array is empty, we are going to add 30 to the heap. So we're going to add 30, and now we go for the second one, which is 0 and 4. So we check if heap is not empty, and heap is not empty, we have 30 in it. And heap 0, which is this item, is a smaller or equal to a start, which is 0, right? So is 30 smaller than 0? No, it is not smaller than 0. So what we are going to do, we cannot go through this if condition, and we are going to add 4 to the heap, and we are going to add 4 to the heap. And as I told you, heap is going to keep the minimum value at index 0. As you see, it keeps the minimum value at index 0. So now we have 4 here and 30 after. So we go for the third item. So we check if the heap is not empty, and it's not empty, and the value that we have at heap 0, which is 4, is smaller than the start value that we have, and it is smaller. So it means this meeting is done and then this meeting will start. So now we can pop this one out of the heap, and what we're going to do, we are going to add 10 to the heap, right? So now we have 10 in the heap, and we popped the number 4 out. And as I told you, heap is going to keep the minimum at index 0. So now we have 10, and we check the fourth meeting. So the fourth meeting starts at 15, and this meeting ends at 10. So 10 is smaller than 15. What we are going to do, we are going to pop 10, and we are going to add 20 to the array. So at the end, how many items do we have in the heap? 2. So 2 is the total number of rooms that we need. As we are using sort and heap, the time complexity is going to be n log n, and because we are using a heap, for the worst case is going to be to the equal to O n, which is going to be linear, which is equal to number of meetings, that intervals and meetings that we are going to have if there is no overlap. So we need equal to the number of intervals, we need rooms. Thank you.